Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Sugar Resort. I am Jay, but they call me Sugar. The Sugar Resort is a place that is here for healing and transformation. It's here for breakthroughs. It's here for those that find themselves at a point in life where things just no longer make sense. I found myself in this same place. They call me Sugar. It feels like there's like a salacious meaning behind that. No, I wanted to have a cool grandmother name. I just so happened to be a grandmother.
Hi, Jesus, Mother.
And I was a young mama, y'all. No shade, don't judge me, y'all. Do not try to judge because I have a story. That's why I'm here. That's why we about to sit here. We about to just keep it all the way real. I mean, that is just who I am. So, anywho, so yes, my name is Jay, but they call me Sugar. I found myself in a place where things just didn't make sense countless times, actually, throughout my life. And I realized that my life has a pattern. There's a theme that continuously just follows me throughout my entire life. And that theme just so happens to be one that is deeply rooted in transformation. And so, transformation, like everybody's life is rooted in transformation. I know, I get it. I feel you. Because, we all got our things. We really do. But the way that I feel like my life has been transformed, they just feel like complete 180 moments. 1 minute I am a high schooler, and the absolute next minute I am graduating a year early, y'all, because you know what I'm saying? Team nerd up in this space, team genius. But even still, I was walking into college with a baby, trying to navigate going to school and navigate being a mom and doing all the things that come along with that. And I reach another pinnacle in my life, and I find that I went to school, did all of that, graduated, did all the things, and found myself at another crossroads when I was working in finance. I took my test to become this financial advisor that just had this prestigious life, sold all types of stocks and bonds and stuff. And, that was like, I had a pretty freaking dope career. And then I just got a nudge and something told me that there was just more for me. And I just, regardless of what anybody else told me that I needed to be doing, or that how cool that was that I was doing that, I felt that it was just time for me to just really be the authentic me and step into myself. And so I heard this word that said, step out and step up. And y'all would not tell you that's exactly what I did. I'm not about to sit here and act like I just did it, because I didn't just do it, because my husband, my Rolly, my bestie, my better than all the resty, my husband, he is the one who was he was like my biggest supporter, and he was just my truest believer. I'm saying even before I believed in myself, he was just like, he was one of those people who just really spoke life into me every single step of the way, even if I never even thought that thing had any life to even breathe. He was there. As an entrepreneur, created a t-shirt company that does amazing work. Shout out to the print heads. Opened up the Pod Studios. That's where we're filming at today. And created twisted t-shirts and karaoke. Y'all, if y'all ever in Detroit, make sure you tap in, because when I say y'all ain't never seen nothing like it, it's off the hook. But I say all of those things because, being an entrepreneur became my identity. And not only my identity, but it became one of the biggest masks that I have worn. Outside of the mask that everybody else have put on me, being an entrepreneur has certainly been the biggest mask that I put on. And I put the mask on because of the way, and I have to just be honest, I put the mask on because of the way that it made me feel when my little sister would always be just like, my big sister, she does this, and my big sister, she does that. I'm like, well, you know what I'm saying? Gotta get the fans what they want. Gotta get the fans what they want. And so I'm like being goof, big sister goofy, her pushing me forward just with her looking up to me was everything. And so I was like, well, I can't let her down. You know what I'm saying? I cannot let my little sister down. And so, that kept my drive. So today's reflection with Jay is going to be a love letter. Actually, this is just going to be a letter to my sister in some way, shape, or form. I was just kind of thinking about my transformative journey and as of late, because who the hell said I was a podcaster? I did. Sign me the freak up, coach, because what I'm going to do this day and age, y'all, I have learned to be a little bit more free. I've learned to be free because when you have something that has been taken away from you unexpectedly, and I'm not talking about taken away in the sense that, you can't have that anymore, but I'm talking about when you have someone that you love, someone that looks up to you, someone that is your biggest fan, you have them snatched from you because someone senselessly murders them. That alone just it stopped me in my tracks. Let me speak for my own self, y'all. Stopped me in my tracks completely because I'm like, wait a minute. My sister, I just talked to her yesterday. She's hyping me up per usual. We get into, a more in-depth conversation in which I'll go into on another podcast, but we say our goodbyes that night, and the next day I didn't hear from her, which is not a normal, but by the end of the week, my life had completely shifted and changed because I'd found out that throughout that week that I hadn't heard from her, that she had been abducted and ultimately beaten to a point of near death. Thank God I was able to actually get to the same state where she was residing. And that was rough. That was rough. Having to go and see the person that, looked up to me so much. I found myself in a weird place because the mask that I chose to wear, the entrepreneur, and now that I just kind of sit with this feeling a little bit more, even the big sister, you know what I'm saying? The big sister, the one that, had to make sure that they were the person for that person, that was me, that was those were the masks that I started to put on myself. When she died, I no longer had the mask because it didn't apply. So the mask went away. Y'all, when the mask went away, that's when I really started to discover who I was and uncover the fact that throughout all of these years, I have, in so many ways, allowed people to define who I was as a person because I didn't have a definition for myself. I allowed them to place certain things on me, and I didn't allow myself to be creatively free or be authentically me or whatever that thing was. You know what I'm saying? I just allowed myself to just kind of be average, just go with the flow and, just kind of just fly under the radar. But when something life-changing and life-shifting happens like that, there's a few things that happen. Some people, they just don't. They said, I can't, I ain't. No ma'am, no ham, and no turkey, please. They just like, no, I'm just checking all the way out. I understand that though. I understand that. I ain't gonna lie. I am not gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie. I understand. So definitely no judgment, y'all. This is Sugar Resort. You're welcome here. We are here to be free and we're here to find our healing. And then there are some people who are like me that put on the mask of, let me just stay busy. The more busy that I become, the less I have to think about this thing, or the less I got to deal with that. I don't have to be bothered with it as long as I stay busy. Well, that's very easy for me to do, extremely easy, until I had to sit in the silence. Now, not the silence of, because that's kind of like, that's an oxymoron. How can it be busy and silent? It just really doesn't feel like those two go together, at least for me. But in the chaos, in all of the comings and the goings and the things that I was doing, I realized that the more alone that I felt, that despite the many places, the many meetings, the different organizations, the groups of people, the friends that called, my husband, my family, my children, my sweet baby granddaughter, my little doggy, nobody in the world that was physically in my presence could actually penetrate the place where I felt like I was so alone. So yeah, I found myself in a world of just doing stuff, yet and still very, very, very alone in feeling. And that aloneness taught me something. Well, it taught me that why do I care what people say anyway? Like, for real, why do I care? Because nothing really matters. Things are only for a moment. And why do we have that moment only for the experience or for the lesson or for the blessing? And these transformational things have done nothing for me but bless me in ways in which I can go on and on and on and on and on about. But I'm definitely not going to say that there weren't lessons attached to those blessings, because there were heavy lessons and heavy burdens to carry and weights that I'm still trying to figure out how to carry myself. But, we figure it out. We do. But in that alone time, it allowed me to discover who I was. Now, people say, I went into meditation, I went to yoga, and I discovered who I was. And all of those things work, child, because I'm telling you, I need all of the Nam Myoho Renge Kyos I can get, because my mind be like, I'll be all over the place. But regardless of how many yoga, meditation, or healing sessions that you find yourself in, the true way of just tapping into who you are is to just sit with yourself and do some self-examination. Now, the way I chose to self-examine, because, I am on the little bit of a analytical person to some degree. And, I be liking to see my receipts and I want to see the truth. So, I've always been a spiritual person, and I've always been someone that I would say is tapped in, and, and I walk with the Lord. I talk with the Lord, like, that's my homie. Like, we like these. I've always been that person, and I'll always be that person. But when I got a chance to just sit and just reflect, I started going deeper, and I was like, wait a second, there are so many different layers to me that I haven't discovered and uncovered yet. And my particular study of choice has become astrology. And astrology has just been this eye-opening science for me that has shown me who I was for real. Like, given me permission to be who I am authentically supposed to be. Like, when I look at my chart and I see that, certain places in my chart say that I was born just to become a person that one day would sit in front of you with a microphone. It didn't say I was going to do it on social media. It didn't say all of this stuff. Because it's definitely not a crystal ball, but it gave me permission to actually say, you know what? That urge that I feel in my heart, I'm not tripping. That urge that I feel in my heart is true. I definitely want to get up and just be talking and yapping about stuff, meaningful things though, because it says that too, that in my particular chart, that my life would be deeply rooted and grounded in a lot of just deep transformational things that would play into the themes of death, rebirth, and transformation. Literally the thing that I felt my entire life, yet I didn't really have a placement for it. I didn't have anything to blame it on. I didn't have a mask to assign it to. I just said, I just feel like that's it, but I just didn't have a mask to assign it to in this world where I guess we just feel like we just got to put a mask on. So that was that. And even to the place where, you know, there's a bit of a way that I'm able to operate in the space of trauma or maybe chaos or even like disassociate or something. Like I'm able to just kind of detach from certain things, and that detachment, that whereas I thought that maybe there was something wrong with me, like why am I not like feeling attached like everybody else? And I felt so much relief, y'all, when I realized that it wasn't necessarily me that was detached. It was actually just, that's who I was. That's who I'm supposed to be. So I no longer feel the need to apologize for who I am or feel like I need to make myself smaller. I feel like I am just ready to just explore and be the absolute me that I can be. You know, I mean, really, that's it. So my letter to her today is going to be, if I had to title the letter to my baby sister, I'll write to you. If I can journal to you today, Kay, and let you know what role silence played for me in my entire transformative journey over this last 3 years, this segment of the journey. Oh, baby girl, it was everything. It was everything. I uncovered and discovered so many different things. I met new friends. I met new people. I've started and created and I've birthed new things. And what's crazy is I have to just thank you. I gotta thank you for your sacrifice. Because had you not have left, I would have been okay with continuing on as you rooting me on as your big sister that started a t-shirt printing company. But now I feel the charge to do so much more. It's because of you that I'm doing so much more. So I thank you for your sacrifice, baby. Whew. Listen, what I did not anticipate is crying on camera, because the one thing that as light-skinned girlies, crying, honey, everybody could tell all day long. Your nose be all Rudolphy and carrying on, child. And I'm just now getting to a place where I'm okay with crying in front of people, because I did not allow myself to let that mask go of associating tears with weakness until my sister left. So, yeah. Okay. Let me just make sure that we are here to uplift. We're not here to just cry and carrying on. You know what I'm saying, y'all? We're not here to cry. We are here to release, to let go, and to just flow, y'all. So at the Sugar Resort, you guys, we might cry a little bit, but we are definitely here to uplift. We are here to pour in every time that we feel like we have released and we have been drained and poured. Everything is falling out, y'all. That's what we're here. We're here to pour in when everything done fell out, okay? So I want to make sure that we close with an affirmative meditation. Take a deep breath in and let it out slowly. Take a deep breath in and let out slowly. and release. Let your shoulders drop. Let your spirit settle. You made space today for truth, for release, for you. And in case nobody told you this week, I will. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are not late. You are right on time. There is no version of you that wasn't worthy of love. I want you to hold this with you. I am allowed to outgrow who I was. I am allowed to grieve and still glow. I am allowed to take up space even in my softness. Say that again if you need to. Write it down, breathe it in, because this life is not about becoming perfect. It's about becoming you, the full, honest, unfiltered version of you. And if you're feeling like you need a little soul map to help guide you through that process, that's what I created the Midpoint Soul Guide for. It's not your average astrology reading. It's a custom, intuitive guide based on your unique birth chart. I look at the midpoint between your most powerful planets, your sun and moon, your ascendant and midheaven, even Venus and Mars, to reveal exactly what you came here to do, how you love, how you lead, and where your transformation turns into power, like your soul's GPS. Baby, it's giving clarity, alignment, and finally, I see myself. You can grab your personal soul guide today at thesugarresort.com or tap the link in the show notes. Start with one or a bundle of a few if you're ready for a deep soul dive. However you begin, just know you deserve to feel seen. This is your permission to become everything they said was too much. And as always, I'll be right here, cheering you on, guiding you inward, and reminding you, when you find your voice, you find your freedom. See you next time, bestie.